a promising college student, on her way to a friend's party, vanished into the night, leaving behind an agonizing silence. The police, swift to act, unearthed a series of chilling clues, each leading them deeper into a labyrinth of uncertainty. Days bled into weeks, and every flicker of hope, every promising lead, dissolved into nothingness. 12 long years later, the truth finally surfaced, its revelation as shocking as it was unexpected. Stephanie Hummer, born on August 4, 1975, in the heart of Cincinnati, Ohio, was a beacon of warmth and intelligence. Raised by loving parents, she embraced her role as older sister to two younger brothers, a natural caregiver from a young age. Her academic brilliance was matched only by her boundless extracurricular spirit. She excelled in soccer and softball, her violin sang with classical melodies, and she shared a love for golf with her father, even caddying at a local course. This unique blend of academic prowess and practical experience earned her the prestigious Evans Scholarship, a full ride to top universities across the nation. In 1993, at the tender age of 18, Stephanie embarked on a new chapter at Ohio State University, pursuing a degree in landscape architecture. She seamlessly integrated into campus life, forging new friendships and maintaining her exemplary academic record. The fateful day arrived on March 5, 1994, as Stephanie's freshman year neared its end. Her parents were visiting, a joyful reunion prompted by her younger brother's math competition finals in the city. Two of her closest friends from home had also made the trip. That evening, their dorm room buzzed with laughter and shared stories, a picture of youthful camaraderie. Around midnight, two familiar faces arrived, students from Cincinnati, former high school acquaintances. As the clock crept towards 3 a.m., the guys extended an invitation to a party at their dorm, a mere 15-minute walk away. The group set out, but a misstep in the dark halted their progress. One of the guys, attempting a shortcut over a fence, snagged his arm on a jagged metal rod, a wound that sent them scrambling back to their dorm for medical attention, leaving the girls to continue alone. Stephanie's friends, weary and with an early departure looming, decided to forego the party. But Stephanie, ever the conscientious host, insisted on walking them back to their dorm, even as they assured her they knew the way. After a final goodbye, she turned towards the party, an innocent figure disappearing into the night. The campus, generally considered safe, was a hive of student activity, parties a constant hum in the background. Stephanie, familiar with the paths, felt no apprehension. How could she have known this seemingly ordinary walk would be her last? The next morning, Stephanie was still absent. Her friends, initially unconcerned, assumed she'd either stayed late at the party or crashed at the guy's dorm. But as hours stretched, a knot of worry tightened in their stomachs. Stephanie, always thoughtful, would never have left without saying goodbye before their journey home. By late morning, their apprehension peaked, driving them to campus police. Officers swiftly contacted Stephanie's parents, already on their way home, to deliver the devastating news. Her father immediately called the Columbus Police Department, initiating a missing person report. As the investigation commenced, officers received a chilling update from colleagues. Just hours earlier, a railroad worker, inspecting tracks 4 miles from campus, had discovered a body in the brush. Initially mistaking it for a mannequin, he soon realized the grim truth. A young woman lay lifeless before him. Police found the victim almost completely undressed, save for her socks and shoes, her bra looped around her neck. No personal identification was found, leaving them without immediate answers. The location, a notorious spot for illicit activities, initially led detectives to consider a connection to that world. However, they quickly pivoted, one officer suggesting the victim might be an Ohio State student.
A call to campus police confirmed Stephanie's disappearance, and her father's description sealed their gravest fears.
Stephanie's parents, their world shattered, turned their car around, racing back to Columbus to identify their daughter at the morgue. Medical examiners determined she had died from a forceful blow to the head with an unidentified heavy object. She had also been sexually assaulted, a semen sample meticulously collected for DNA analysis. The marks on her neck, initially suggestive of strangulation, were later identified as hickeys, leading to additional biological material being swabbed and sent to the lab. The time of death was estimated between 3 and 6 a.m. Detectives interviewed Stephanie's friends, reconstructing the events of that tragic night. Their next stop was the dorm of the two young men who had invited them to the party. Both insisted Stephanie had never arrived, a claim corroborated by everyone else interviewed. The strange marks on Stephanie's neck prompted detectives to question if either guy had been intimately involved with her, suggesting a consensual encounter that might have turned violent. Both denied any romantic involvement, maintaining Stephanie was merely a friend. The bandage on one of the guy's arms initially raised suspicion, but his explanation of a fence-related injury was confirmed by his friends. Both readily agreed to polygraphs and DNA samples, seemingly clearing their names. But the case was far from closed. The lab results delivered a shocking twist. DNA from the swab taken from Stephanie's neck matched Thomas, the same young man who had cut his arm on the fence. Confronted with the evidence, Thomas recanted his earlier statement, admitting they had been making out that night. This belated confession and the fact that no one else in Stephanie's room had witnessed it raised immediate red flags. He claimed to have simply forgotten, insisting their kisses on the couch hadn't progressed further. Detectives remained unconvinced, considering the possibility he might have encountered Stephanie later as she walked alone across campus. Another twist emerged. The semen sample collected from Stephanie's body did not match Thomas. It belonged to an unknown male, absent from the FBI's database. This unexpected development removed Thomas from the suspect list, shifting the focus to an entirely new, unidentified assailant. Every student in Thomas's dorm provided DNA samples, yielding no matches. The lack of a database hit for the perpetrator led detectives to believe they were dealing with a first-time offender. A grim timeline began to form. Given that Stephanie's body was found a 10-minute drive from her dorm, investigators theorized her attacker had struck her, knocking her unconscious, before loading her into a car and driving her to the secluded railroad tracks. They believed the sexual assault occurred in the car while she was incapacitated. Yet, at some point, Stephanie regained consciousness, perhaps even attempting to flee, as crushed brush near the scene suggested a struggle. Her escape was tragically short-lived. Her attacker pursued and ultimately murdered her. Weeks passed as police canvassed the campus and surrounding neighborhoods, desperately seeking any information that might break the case. Nothing substantial emerged until nearly a month later, when a promising lead finally materialized. A man named Michael had been arrested for attempting to abduct a student from the same university. Investigators immediately requested his DNA for comparison, only to be met with disappointment. Michael had no connection to Stephanie's murder. Soon after, a man came forward with a chilling tale about his friend Anton. Days after the murder, Anton had allegedly confided in him, asking him to keep a grave secret. Anton then confessed to being near campus the night Stephanie was killed and, shockingly, admitted to kidnapping and murdering her. Detectives wired the friend's phone, orchestrating a call to Anton that would be recorded. Anton not only repeated his confession, but also revealed a crucial detail: the glow of a large TV tower visible from where Stephanie's body was found. Brought in for questioning, Anton abruptly changed his story, vehemently denying any involvement. He claimed to have heard about the murder on the news and was simply messing with his friend.
The TV tower detail he simply remembered from being in the area previously. Despite the detective's skepticism and Anton's suspicious behavior, his DNA did not match the semen recovered from Stephanie's body. Reluctantly, they crossed him off the list.
The FBI joined the investigation, amplifying its scope. Several reports from locals describing a white van cruising the streets the night of the murder suddenly gained renewed importance. Focusing on ex-convicts living near the crime scene, they stumbled upon Rodney, a man with a history of kidnappings. Due to the era of his incarceration, his DNA had not been collected and was thus absent from the FBI database. Rodney worked for a transport company located conveniently close to where Stephanie's body was found, a company that utilized white vans, which he had access to. Detectives interviewed Rodney's co-workers, one of whom recounted a disturbing game Rodney liked to play, driving a work van onto campus, posing as an undercover officer and luring female students into the van where he would grope them. His ex-girlfriend revealed she lived near Stephanie's dorm and had broken up with Rodney shortly before the murder. He had taken the breakup poorly, exhibiting alarming and unstable behavior. This compelling evidence secured a warrant to search the van Rodney had been using. Inside, they discovered handcuffs, a flashlight, and a stolen handgun. Rodney was arrested, but refused to answer any questions. His DNA was collected and sent to the lab. The results, however, were disbelieving. Rodney's DNA did not match the semen from Stephanie's body. Despite the overwhelming circumstantial evidence, he too was removed from the suspect list, leaving the investigation at another dead end. For years, the case stagnated. Detectives diligently pursued every tip, while Stephanie's heartbroken parents repeatedly appealed to the media, begging the public for any information that might lead to their daughter's killer. Nearly 2 years later, a new suspect emerged, a man arrested in California for murder and sexual assault. Investigators discovered he had been living near Stephanie's dorm at the time of her death. But once again, DNA evidence ruled him out. Several men falsely confessed to Stephanie's murder, only to be debunked by DNA, revealed to be inmates hoping to profit from the tragedy. After this, the investigation largely froze, the silence a cruel echo for Stephanie's family. Then, in 2005, a glimmer of hope. Ohio enacted a new law requiring DNA collection from all convicted felons. Previously, individuals could be repeatedly arrested or serve time for lesser offenses without their DNA entering the system. The database soon swelled with new profiles. On January 17, 2006, a call came into Columbus PD. The original lead detective on Stephanie's case had retired, but his successor, a new investigator, received the news: a hit in the FBI database. A profile had been added that matched the semen recovered from Stephanie's body. The name? Jonathan Gravely, a resident of Columbus. The new investigator immediately contacted his predecessor, who, despite retirement, had never given up hope. Jonathan Gravely's name had never appeared in the 12 years of the investigation. A deeper dive revealed he lived just a 12-minute walk from campus. At the time of the murder, he was 24, a father of 2. In the intervening years, he had divorced, remarried, and had 2 more children, securing a well-paying job at a local manufacturing plant. His rap sheet, though extensive, primarily consisted of drug, alcohol, and DUI offenses, none of which had been serious enough to mandate DNA collection under the old laws. His latest arrest in 2006, however, fell under the new law, and his DNA entered the system. The moment it did, it pinged a match to Stephanie's cold case. The irony was stark. He was arrested for skipping a child support payment, reported by his ex-wife. 2 days after the match, the new lead detective, accompanied by the retired investigator, confronted Jonathan at his workplace. The mention of their purpose visibly rattled him, his hands trembling, yet he agreed to come to the station. When presented with the DNA evidence, Jonathan initially denied any involvement,
claiming he met Stephanie at a bar that night. They had struck up a conversation, he said, and later left together for a more private spot away from downtown, where they engaged in consensual sex. Detectives found his story implausible. Stephanie, 18, wouldn't have been in a bar where the drinking age was 21, nor would she abandon friends for a stranger in the middle of the night. When confronted with their disbelief, Jonathan shifted his narrative. He claimed their encounter began consensually, initiated by Stephanie, but she then abruptly changed her mind, threatening to tell his wife. An argument ensued, he hit her, and after that, he claimed, everything went blank. This revised account failed to convince detectives. They presented their own theory. Stephanie, walking towards her friend's dorm and the party, was spotted by Jonathan. He owned a white van at the time. Investigators believe he pulled alongside her on a dark, deserted street, perhaps feigning a need for directions to lower her guard. He then struck her, knocking her unconscious, loaded her into the van, and drove to the secluded spot where her body was later found. While she was unconscious, he stripped and sexually assaulted her. But at some point, Stephanie regained consciousness, managing to escape the van. Jonathan pursued her, forcing her to the ground, and continued to strike her until she died.
Though he never admitted to the abduction, Jonathan acknowledged killing her. He was arrested, and the case proceeded to court. The judge, in a symbolic gesture, set his bail at an astonishing $1 billion. Jonathan's attorney immediately challenged the confession, arguing it was obtained illegally without a lawyer present. His new fiancée also defended him, believing his version of events, that Stephanie had consensual sex with him, left, and was killed by someone else. Ultimately, prosecutors announced their intention to seek the death penalty. Faced with this grim prospect, Jonathan took a deal, a guilty plea in exchange for the death penalty being taken off the table. He accepted in September 2007. The plea didn't require him to detail the events of that night, only to admit guilt. Yet Jonathan stood and offered an apology to Stephanie's family. They, however, dismissed his words, expressing their hope for the maximum possible punishment. The judge sentenced him to 25 years to life, making him eligible for parole after just 16 years. His first parole request in 2023 was denied, but he remains behind bars with a real chance of release in the not-too-distant future. Stephanie's father and her closest loved ones have vowed to fight his parole every single time. Sadly, Stephanie's mother passed away from cancer 8 years after the verdict. To honor Stephanie's memory, her hometown dedicated a small park in her name, a place where her family and friends continue to gather, remembering the vibrant young woman whose life was so cruelly cut short. Share your thoughts on this story in the comments section. And don't forget to press the like button if you enjoyed my video. Thank you for watching.